auditors, our primary area that we are seeing is control. Normally, in a manual audit, when we start the audit, sometimes we see the internal control system. Like in performance audit, we first see the internal control system. Internal control system is basically checking the environment. So in the IT, the environment is very large actually in the IT. The general control system, basically it will cover the controls other than the system per se. Like as I was telling IT governance, what is the control there? Then the environmental controls like fire hazard, health hazard, any related issue, water seepage, destruction to the computer, unauthorized access, those things come under the general control system. So the basic objective of having a general control checkout is in the next stage, we are going to have the substantive testing, that we have to extract the data, we have to analyze. Like in the morning I was saying the duplication, excess payment, non-levy of liquidated damage. So that you will be confident provided you know the controls are in place. So if the inputs that is given to the system per se is not correct, then obviously the outputs can be incorrect. Then basically the general control, when you are checking the general control, you are seeing whether there is unauthorized access to the system, to the data center, unauthorized access through web. If it is a web-based system, how a security system is there to see that unauthorized people don't get the access to it. Besides that, electronics data payment, electronic EDI system, whether digital signature system is there because the data is going through public domain, financial data. It has got some other ramifications. Then software licensing issues also sometimes taken care of the system. You log into the system, you verify that yes, I am the licensed user. And the data you are sending in the public domain, sometimes it may get tampered. So those issues, general control is basically generic in nature, not specific to the computer system. Computer system controls will be how inputs are given, that is input control, how processing is done. Processing control you can check if you know little bit of programming, source coding, then you can do. Without that also you can check it. That seeing the output, you can know that the processing is not correct. Then the output control, check the various levels. There are detailed checklist is there, what you have to see in the output control. But it is expected in input, output and processing control. This is the area where little bit of computer knowledge is required. So this is the area. Otherwise, general control, checklist audit, your understanding, you will pass through. Security aspect, checklist also will help you. BCP checklist will also help you. Checklist and physical observation. You know there is a mirror database system in a different location. That is physically you can go and check. But input, output and processing, that little bit of technical knowledge is required. But that will gain over a period of time. But once we see to the system also, then give some input. Whether it is accepting wrong input. When you are checking, you give wrong input deliberately, that whether it is accepting. So date has got a particular format, DDMMYI. You put in a different format. So then let us say date says 2204. Let us say it is 18. That 18 does it mean 2018 or does it mean 0018? That is 2000 years back. So there are many things that you can check in the system. So first we'll see some general controls and afterwards we'll check the input output controls. Some technicality will be there, but bear with us, over the time will simplify.
yesterday we had actually that in IT audit, effort is made to define our audit observation in terms of controls. So controls are, as it has been discussed, these are the procedures or measures taken so that our IT application, our IT project is aligned with our business goals. So these IT controls are divided into two parts: general controls and application controls. General controls are which are put in place in the IT environment in which the IT application is working. There are some terms like authentication, application controls, validation and authorization, how general and application controls are related. Term like authentication and authorization, which are often confused. Any idea what is authentication and what is authorization?
Authentication is just to verify that input is correct.
Authentication. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
verification.
Authorization.
Authorization. Are you authorized to?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Authentication is to identify the person, whether the correct person is using the system. It authenticates, it recognizes the person. Authorization is related to access. How much access is allowed to the person. So these are the very important general controls: authentication and authorization. Other terms we have already discussed, like application, these are general validation, general application controls are related. We will discuss that in subsequent slides. This picture shows how these different controls are related to each other. Yesterday we had a class on IT governance. This is the most influential control which affects all the controls which are subsequently in the inside boxes. Then IT governance and management controls. Another is segregation of duties and operational controls. Physical access and environment controls. Physical access, what is how the access to the system, IT system is allowed, and environment controls, what are the safeguards taken for any environmental hazard. Then there is a logical access control, user ID, password, biometrics, etc. Change controls, controls which are in place so that any changes are made into the application is well documented, well authorized. So change controls, these are under the category general controls. Then it is application controls, which is inside the IT application, which controls which are put in inside the application. These are categorized in input control, processing control, and output control. And ideally, all the transactions which are taking place in the application should have an audit trail. So it is given as network audit trail. It is little bit repetitive. Governance and management of IT organization, strategy, policy, senior management, environment, HR, all these there should be documentation. In our audit reports, mostly first para is related to documentation, whether there is adequate documentation regarding to user requirement specification, system requirement specification, Because if this documentation is not there, it is very difficult to follow whether other controls will work or not. Second is segregation of duties, access and environment controls and change controls. This issue we have discussed yesterday. This is repetitive and this is repetitive. Now you can see how the top IT governance control affect the other controls, which were seen in the box. Poor organization and management control will influence the inadequate control over the IT department, poor general IT controls, and then it will mitigate the effects of other controls like application control. Inadequate application controls increase transaction risk. If there is a poor access control like logical access control or physical access control, any unauthorized person is entering the data, then whatever the strong application controls are there, they will not work. There should be appropriate segregation of duty, division of roles and responsibilities so that a single individual cannot subvert the process. And if there is, due to lack of staff, there is segregation of duties not well controlled, then there should be a overall authorization of the transaction, which may be taken as a compulsory control. Characteristic separation of origination, authorization, verification functions. Ideally, all the IT functions should be segregated, but in practical, if these are not segregated, there should be a overall authorization for these transactions. These are the risks associated with the non-segregation of duties. If all the reliance is on the one person, which often happen in the government department, these are the risks which may happen. Data manipulation and fraud going undetected for a long time. There is no monitoring of what the one person has been doing. Unauthorized transaction, dilution of user accountability, loss, leakage of confidential data. Now, these are other general controls which are mentioned, like capacity planning of the IT system, whether there is adequate processors, memory, servers, and sufficient node licenses. All these are, if inadequate, then it will lead to business loss. Performance monitoring, there are performance monitoring tools in the network, and they will log the uptime of the system, monitor the internet speed, and all these criteria. If these procedures are not in place, delays and disruptions in processing, no SLAs. Yeah, it involves the service level agreement with the outsourcing party. Media management. It is important if there is a large volume of data, the data backup is taken in tape drive or external hard disk. And it should be ensured, auditor should see that whether these backup drives are kept in remote place, safe place, which is not just near the server, actual server. Because if these backup devices are near the servers, these are control is redundant in case of any disaster. Backups, high amount of system downtime to fix faults. help desk user problems remaining unresolved due to poor help desk function. So network monitoring and maintenance. These are the other environment controls. If the data is critical, these are also very important. In our one of our AG offices, there was a fire incident happened. All the accounts data was destroyed. At least some part of was destroyed. But there is a backup mechanism. The data backup data is kept in separate place in Noida. So that data was again restored. There is a power spikes, failure of equipment due to temperature or humidity extremes, static electricity. And IT auditor has to assess and identify the vulnerability to the system components and the impact of an event. Identify countermeasures to reduce exposure. Must balance the risk identified with the cost of implementing controls. Our recommendation or whatever our remarks should be commensurate with how critical the system is. The control should not be so costly, or it should be cost effective, so that it matches what the risk is. Even after any system application is developed, there is requirement for changes. But there should be, in any organization, there should be a proper change management policy. How any changes in the system will be made. So this aspect should be seen. By change, it is mentioned to enhance functionality, to make system operations easier, more efficient, capacity planning, problem rectification, to improve security, routine updates, change in requirements. In our audit reports, this is the widely mentioned observation. The changes are frequently made, but there is no documentation, there is no authorization. So, if the person who is responsible for making changes leave the job, there is no idea what were the changes made in the last 1 year or 2 years. So sometimes the outsourcing party or person kind of take undue advantage of the knowledge he has. So the auditee should take proper care that whatever changes are made in the application, they should be documented. These are not, then it should be mentioned in our audit observation. These are the risk in program, unauthorized changes, implementation problems, erroneous processing, reporting, user dissatisfaction, maintenance difficulties, unauthorized hardware and software, problems with emergency changes. Test of change controls. It will be ensured in audit that the organization procedures to control change include procedure for management authorization. Proper authorization is required. If there is a big any major change, then the software should be tested before it is being used by the users. Management review of the effects of any changes. Maintenance of adequate record, there should be proper documentation, what changes have been made. Preparation of fallback plans. If there is any major change, then the current system should be taken as backup, so that any incorrect changes does not corrupt the system. The establishment of procedures for making emergency changes. Access control. There are two types of, we are discussing access control, physical access and logical access control. The purpose is protection of information assets. For proper access control, there should be maintenance of list of authorized users and their access privileges. What files, what data should be accessed by the which person, it should be well defined in the access list. And most preferably, it should be available as per need to know basis. And if there is some users for audit, there is a user, it should be available as a only read-only purpose. Monitoring access investigation, apparent security violations, and take appropriate remedial action. Logical access control, we are discussing measures to protect computer resources, data, program, and terminals against unauthorized access attempts. For access control, sometimes we get the, as Sir said, we find this access control observations by just asking what are the number of users, what are the actual number of licenses, we compare that. And sometimes we get the data also. When we get the data and we analyze the log files, we may see what are the users, what are the passwords. Maybe passwords are encrypted. If we can identify that the passwords are same, these are not changed. And even if these are not encrypted, if we see that passwords are not encrypted, this is also a audit point. Logical access control at the installation level. Logon procedures, user identification, authentication, passwords, other logical access controls. Other logical access controls like biometrics or retina recognition. These are the further measures to strengthen the logical access control. Non-release of client identification, don't welcome those attempting to log on. Automatic disconnection, on screen have disabled, lost log on disabled. These are the precautions which may be taken to strengthen the password control. Rules on password composition, like it should be at least 8 characters, it should be alphanumeric. Minimum maximum length, aging after 3 months or based on the criticality of the system, there should be some criteria on the aging that every 3 months or every 3 weeks the password should be changed. Password history, so password should not be repetitive. It should be new password should not be the same as the last 5 passwords. This kind of criteria we can put. Other logical controls, we may limit the number of concurrent sessions for the same user ID and password. There should not be multiple sessions. Like in some cases it is allowed, like in SAP training, some training users are created, which is used by at least 10 persons. But in actual scenario, if you are working in an actual scenario, no one user ID should be in 2 sessions. Limits on working hours, if it is critical area like defense and all these things, it should not be in the, user should not access in odd hours. There should be some criteria, it should not be accessed in midnight. Restricted sign-on attempts, every 3 attempts, it should be blocked. Automatic terminal timeout, terminal specific action. So based on the importance of the system, there should be this kind of controls should be strengthened. Impact of lack of logical access control. No need to say it is, impact will be very immense. Unauthorized disclosure, unauthorized amendment, breach of system integrity. Last slide is the persons who are most, I think, the persons who make the system more very risky because they have the most knowledge about the system. Hackers, employees, former employees. If there is some employee who is discontented, left the job, he has all the knowledge of the system. He may misuse the system, he hacked the system. Outsiders, vendors and consultants. The persons who have the proximity with the system, they don't know the system, then they can misuse or hack the system. So it was just the introduction of general control. This is a typical IT organization chart. You may see the chief executive. There is a person director who is dedicated to IT tasks, related to IT tasks. Like in India, for every department we have a nodal officer who is responsible for all the IT activities in the department. So every approval, if there is a new application has to be developed by for the department, it should be approved by the nodal officer.
You mean this is the ideal IT organization, right?
Yeah.
This is the IT you need.
Yeah. It is a general chart for the IT organization.
Not all companies has an IT director.
Not.
No.
Yeah.
It's
But in management, there should be some person who is related to, who has been interested with the IT related work.
But it is just like maybe IT and finance or IT. It has to be with other jobs, not IT specific.
Suppose there is introduction of a new system, new IT project. Then it should be initiated by one person.
Yes.
Suppose a company want to introduce ERP system, SAP system. Then who will take up the case that the IT system should be introduced in the department? There should be some kind of.
I think
And if it is not there, then it is very important observation. In India, what happened? In some state, for a single purpose, 2 applications have been developed because there was no coordination. So for that person, in 2000, I think early 2005 or something, it was decided that there should be a nodal officer, and who will look after the IT area.
officer, yes,
Yeah.
but not the director.
It is nomenclature, whatever the name.
Yes.
This is we have the PDF file. This was not given as a part of training video, but we.
Because the checklist are
Yeah,
very
yeah.
precise.
This general control checklist is very complete. It's a 9-page checklist, so we don't have to bother much. Just go through the checklist and raise queries. So we'll download it or we can send it to your email ID. So see this general control. I told these controls basically. These are the areas as IT auditors we need to focus. And if we find there is a control failure, then obviously our data that we'll be analyzing will not have credibility. If the control is not there, the data cannot be reliable. We have to comment on the control aspect, and audit is now it is in the advanced stage. It is called risk-based audit. So in the risk-based audit, we traditionally most of the government organization we don't do much risk assessment. Even in India, only in performance audit and certain technical areas we have started doing the scientific risk-based audit. But most of us, our risk perception is in our mind, and we know what to see, and on that basis we also make good audit observation. It is developing as a science, so there are proper risk assessment, there are risk assessment procedures. We have an exercise to do. I know it will be little advanced, but we can have a feel of it. Today or tomorrow, it is a hypothetical company, US company. It is having operation in different locations. It has got different types of businesses and different types of modules we have. So how, as a IT auditor, we will plan it. So we'll have just have a feel of it, and subsequently when we gain our experience and knowledge, maybe one day your SAV will ask, no, you have to shift to this based audit. It's more scientific, so we have to, sorry? You are doing. Okay. So yes, then it is easy that how you use the risk analysis. Okay. So, but in our place, not all audits are risk-based. Like performance audit is risk-based. This year in technical audits we do some risk-based, but compliance no risk, financial audit no risk-based. So that is there. Actually, it will start with primarily a risk equation. What is the overall audit risk? That is basically the multiplication of inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. So inherent risk of the organization, you will, I'll give an equation. Inherent risk of the organization, you will try to find out. You will have the assessment. The example, if I may give, like it's a very. Sometimes I give an example which is not from the audit area, so that we relate it instantly. Imagine that we want to open a shop, okay, or we want to have somebody who will open a shop in our behalf, and I am not very interested in any kind of loss to the goods, damage to the goods, perishability I don't like. So should we open a fruit shop? Fruit shop means even with refrigeration and all, there will be some kind of perishability considered there. But if a electronic shop, the perishability will not be issued. It will be the validity of the that expiry of the goods. So the inherent nature of perishability, that the item getting decayed, is more in a fruit shop, in a vegetable shop. You cannot preserve the foods even with refrigeration for 2 months, 3 months. So inherently, basically when you are looking at audit organization, what is the inherent nature of the organization where there are chances that it may go wrong. So this is an inherent risk assessment. Then control risk is, there are many controls in the organization, and every organization, every system, there is control. Okay. So then what all controls the organization has placed, and even if having the controls, there is a chance that the controls may not work and there will be audit finding. Detection risk is that as auditors, we are in the financial audit, we say true and fair view, saying that more or less it is fine. I am not very much, I cannot just certify that all account is fine. So So depending on my assessment, I say it is more or less it is fine. I have checked these things. I find it is more or less fine, but I am not 100%. I cannot guarantee that account is fine. So you might have heard in the newspaper that Arthur Anderson and Enron, the auditor was held responsible, even though he has said it is true and fair. I have more or less certified that, but nowadays they say no, this more or less certification will not. You should do little more to certify. So the detection risk is, even though we auditors, we may also miss out something. What is the risk that it will get unnoticed even by the auditors? So overall audit risk, let us say auditing organization says my findings will be 95% accurate. Or still 0.05, 95% means 0.05 overall audit risk I will take. So overall audit risk is 0.05 divided by inherent risk into control risk, and then you calculate detection risk. So if you see the detection risk is more, then you have to do more auditing work, you have to have more sample check. If the detection risk is low, then you may say, okay, this much sampling will help. So this is the basis of risk assessment. So but this, why I told risk assessment? Yes, actually slowly we'll be moving towards that, and here if you are doing the scientific risk assessment, then we'll take a exercise and we'll find out how it helps. Then this general controls, basically, there are various kinds of checklist. So in the checklist, you go through the checklist and you devise a query. Auditing primarily we are query. We question and we get the reply, we verify, if we are not satisfied, we take it to the report. So these are the things like one, consider whether IT or business enterprise policies and procedures address a structured planning approach and a methodology is in place to formulate and modify the plans and at a minimum they cover these businesses. The organization has a mission or goal, IT initiative to support the organization mission and goal. So this is one checklist. Next, how appropriate is the audited body's IT strategic plan? It is a long-term plan you invest in IT. How you are going to computerize your critical business system, and how much time you want to take, what are the vendors you have identified, and how you are going it type of investment. Next. Does the strategic plan identify target dates? Are there procedures for monitoring its implementation? Are current IT activities consistent with the plan? Because some level of IT is there, but is it consistent with it, or some more things we have to do? Next. How does the senior management maintain an appropriate level of interest in the audited body's IT functions? Then determine if committees, whether review, approve, report to the board, or board means in a government organization, maybe the top management, directors, or maybe secretary, minister, how they're reporting. The next. Does the organization have adequate IT documentation policy? We have discussed this before, but we are summarizing now. Henceforth, we will not be talking any general control. Now we will be entering into IT area, proper IT area. So does the organization internal audit function? Again, tax laws, policies. So I'm not going in detail. This is there. I'll send a copy to you. You may go through it. Then if you feel there is any difficulty that you will not be able to formulate your query, then we may discuss it. Or you would like to discuss the info. Yes. We'll go to other controls. Yes, yes, are there procedure in place for updating the skill of end users and training arranged regularly? Like this is a general thing. Next. Determine if there are adequate standards and procedures for these activities: data center operation, program change control, information security. So you will get to know. Obtain the review copies of all vendors and consultants. Yes. Obtain and review copies of all vendor and consultant contracts, available financial statements and risk agreements. This is also implementation strategy to review. Yes. Then this security policy, physical protection of the data center, and if it is web-based, what extra check you have taken, you have a firewall system, you have how authentication is done. Then designation and duties of the security officer, because once it is in system, some kind of system audit is also, security audit is also required. Password creation and change. So many things are our day-to-day auditing checklist, control checks. Besides that, something which is related to computer system, but they are general in nature. Even if you say there is a password policy, like in the morning we saw even non-IT background people with little IT knowledge, they can also say that the password policy is not correct, because we know what should be the password policy. Then control and the policy, control and the implementation risk, that has to balance. If you say that the password, if it is a critical level, like banking thing, we transact online banking, and we have a password system. They say you modify it, maybe each month you have to change the password. But if you are very rigid that the password should be changed on a daily basis, thinking that the password may get violated. So, but what is the cost to it? This is the control. You want to enhance the control, saying that the password should be changed every day. Now, what is the risk? Risk is that if you change password frequently, an individual will forget the password. So it will be disturbing the help desk, saying that I have forgotten my password. So there is a tangible and intangible cost attached to the control. You want to have more control, then there is a cost. The help desk person will be bothered on a regular basis that the person has forgotten the password. Then you send a mail, they will say you send a mail, we'll send a link to your email ID, then we will verify it. Besides that inconvenience, it also costs. Finally, every activity is having a financial implication. So every control we want to check, there has to be assessment whether that control is having appropriate. If you have to more control, then it is costing. So whatever the control, appropriate level of control you check and you put the control. That's it. Yes, security policy, yes, I can. Unauthorized entry, logical access control, these things we have more or less discussed. I think we will go. These things we'll give it to you, because when we'll be doing the field audit, so all these checklists, once you go through it, and if possible, when we are here, we'll finalize together whatever the field thing we will do. We'll finalize the checklist, appropriate checklist, and in some places, if the system is not much advanced, maybe we may not require that much control or check. And if it is advanced, we feel there is enough finding, then we may have more checks. If the investment is low risk, so we may have different type of control. So sooner we decide the topics, so we parallelly we can work, and get the data, maybe at home we can really do a little work on that. So this very exhaustive control checks, it has been tested, and the morning what report you saw, this is basically the product of this exercise. Okay, so IT teams, maybe one IT person would be there, 2-3 people, they are not IT person. So they have gone through it and they have found it. So okay, these are 9 pages, I'll send it, then you can do the other. So far we have gained some kind of understanding, I guess, for general control. Some understanding. I know some technicality is there, the difficulty is there. We'll try to simplify. But I hope some understanding is there. Control. Yeah. So to begin with, it is actually good. Practical thing. Unless we go, unless we experience, once
we were discussing about general controls. Application controls are the procedures or the measures which are put in place in the IT system. Application controls are particular to an application. Application controls provide assurance to management that all transactions are valid, authorized and recorded. So we have seen in the previous slide that application control were in the inside box. So important thing is if IT governance and general controls are robust enough, only then application controls will be effective. During the audit, we start from the general controls. We see whether the system is developed with proper planning, there is documentation, and there is access controls. And for this application control, mostly we find these controls through data analysis. Yeah. If general controls are weak, they severely limits the reliability of application controls. Because if there is improper, inefficient access control, incorrect data is entered, so we know garbage in, garbage out. Whatever good the programming is there, it will be ineffective. In typical IT system, there is an input, whether it is this input is through the any person, data entry, or it is some automatic input through biometric or some other way. Then it is processing. There must be some program. There should be some mechanism to process this input data, and there would be output. And this processing will be done on some data or file, which is mentioned as master file here. Auditors should have clear understanding of nature of batching of inputs, transaction flow and output, major transaction involved, the major data files maintained, approximate transaction volume. While analyzing any system, first thing we have to understand the what is the system, data flow diagram of the system, what are the tables, what are the relationship between these tables. So only then we can comment on the system. So in practical, during audit, we have to sit together with the person who is managing the IT application or who is doing the database administrator who has some knowledge about the application. Only then we can get the idea what is the input, how it is processed, and what are the MIS report which have been available. So these things, ideally, if auditor has this knowledge, then it would be very helpful. Sometimes in if you are going to some big organization like oil corporation or it is some ERP system, there would be thousands of files. You cannot analyze these thousands of files. Then the IT person would only tell that these 10 or 15 files are critical. These keeps the meaningful data, and you can then you can concentrate on those files and analyze. And even in different tables, what I was saying as files, you will take it as a table. Different tables, there would be maybe hundred of columns, and some of the columns may be redundant. They may be using some useless data for our angle. So from the database administrator, IT person, we have to understand what data is meaningful for us. Application control have to ensure proper authorization, completeness, accuracy, and validity of transactions. These are the example user level privileges. What are the privileges for different users? How much data they can access? How much data they can not, it should not be manipulated, but what data can process, and what data they can see. System defined edit checks should be there. While we test the application controls, it will give the assurance that validity, accuracy, and completeness of transactions. In the previous report, you were saying e-Aushadhi of Maharashtra. What Auditor did, they took the data down for 2 years. It was introduced in 2013. They took the data of 2 years backup, maybe it was in MySQL or Oracle, whatever the database was. They took the backup, they restored in their system. They used SQL and IDEA. They analyzed, they found whether the data is complete, whether the business rules are properly mapped, it is complete or not. What are the users? They were provided with the system logs also. So they did the analysis, and then they found the observation. Are you some familiar with the CATs like IDEA and SQL? Most of you?
Idea.
Most of you are familiar?
Actually, there was a program in Excel
Yeah.
2 years ago to input all the auditors. How to use IBM.
Yeah.
And every department bought computers with license of
In that case, if you're familiar, we will try to use some advanced function of IDEA for your session. So it will be useful.
But some of us were playing after that, so we didn't.
We will try to accommodate or everyone. Even though if, they have got the training 2 years back, if you don't use, one may forget. So it will be revision also. Now, these are just application controls are in 3 parts. You assume input control, processing, and output. What are the various risks at the data input stage? In application control, most of the errors or the data discrepancies occur at this stage only, input control stage. Whether it is deliberate or whether it is just by mistake. It should be ensured that all transactions have been authorized, entered accurately, all valid transactions are captured, all transactions entered only once. In our some of the audit report like registration of land records. So in all the states of India, all the registration like recorded property are computerized. So these are important documents. Registration is of property is very critical for everyone. So they pass through the different authorization stage. Like a data entry operator who is mostly outsourced person, he enters, then it is checked by the other person who is little bit senior, whether it is properly area, location, person, father's name is correctly entered, and it is go through the 2-3 stages. And sometimes maybe if there is improper training or lack of staff, lack of user awareness, the supervisor person by some reason trust that lower junior person too much, and there are cases when data is entered incorrectly. So it creates very difficult situation for the person who has uh, registered the properties. So these things are to be taken very carefully. All valid transactions are captured, all transactions entered only once. All these controls, as I said, are mostly can be found by the data analysis only. So earlier in our audit reports, actually, if you are aware of the data analysis, it is the most comfortable part of the audit because you get the data, you sit on a laptop or computer, you just analyze, you get lot of discrepancies, and you prepare the report. But but in our later on, what is the? It is difficult to tell by the auditor what is the origin, what is the reason of these discrepancies. So then you have to check what are the lacking in general controls and what are the other reasons for the data error. Manual input controls are often computerized versions of our manual controls. Signatures, initials, or authorization stamps prior to processing. Computerized control, online approval. I discussed in the just now. Like in manual controls, you have signature. Nowadays, for the last 5 years, all the government procurement are done by the e-procurement sites. It is computerized. We have government portal through which we have to do the purchase. We have to totally avoid the manual purchase. There is site like GEM, government e-marketing site. And also, if a government is there's some department like PWD, Public Works Department. Public Works Department. So these departments float not big amount of contracts. So these contracts should be avoided by the e-procurement, through the e-procurement. This is also a very computerized system. In your country, what is the procedure for purchasing any IT item? Like you are purchasing laptop or some stationery, is it through some kind of tendering?
Yes.
Through tender, through there is some IT system, or you through the newspaper or whatever, what?
Some organizations do with the IT system, but some do with the.
Like here, SAB wants to purchase some computers. Who
I
will
don't know
attend
the
that?
process of the.
Depends on the talking about this kind of thing. The expert becomes Stella.
That guide, it is computerized or it's not. To be honest, I don't know.
Actually, what system is followed there, it has evolved. Maybe a good system or a inculcated. The government of India, there are many offices, okay, different type of departments. Like here SAB, like we auditors, SAI India is also a part of government department. Health, education, there are so many departments. So they want to procure computers, laptops, desktops, servers. They want to procure, it is not only computer items. There are many day-to-day items also you want to procure for your office. So what the government does, they have shortlisted some vendors. They have finalized more or less the rates. So they do annually So there is a portal called GEMS. You go to that portal. We are supposed to purchase through that portal only, and they are listed vendors are there, local vendors, outside vendors. So it is a much cheaper rate, and we are only authorized to buy that because the tendering and all those process has been done by the government. Yes.
Well, here we have other ministries. We have financial ministry. There is a whole buy. Like a catalog starts from copying machines, desks, computers. You submit an order. It comes after like 3 months or something, but it comes very cheap.
Yes. I think
Similar
similar
thing
thing is
whole
there.
buy.
Similar thing.
And we have the single buy, like less than 5,000 dinar.
Yeah.
The one listed,
Okay.
not by the financial ministry. And there is a contract.
Okay. The running contract is there.
Yeah, there is a few ways.
So it is covered to all the departments? Any?
All the ministries of Kuwait,
Yeah.
they are under the whole buy.
Oh, then the similar system is there.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a good system that the discount, then tendering that, then bias is also gone because we are not going to one point. So this is basically the system.
Yeah, like we are telling the manual control, signatures, initial or authorization stamps. So earlier like our department, public works department, they usually float large amount of tenders. So now it is done through e-procurement, where the bidder, the contractor who is giving his prices, he applies through the digital signature. They should have a digital signature, and they then apply through the bid. There were many, there in several last 3-4 years, we have done some 4-5 audits of e-procurement reports. We will just share with you. Now, input authorization. Authorization controls reduce risk of error, fraud, and irregular transactions. Authorization is what access has to be allowed to a user. Man input controls are often computerized version of manual controls. Yeah, it is. Sorry. Input validation format checks. Only data in specified format accepted. Proper data entry scheme designs reduce risk of error. Typically applied to amount, dates, account codes. This validation is very simple to apply, but we have seen in some organization it is missed. So there is some junk data is captured in the date field. If it is not applied, there must be some character data is captured. In earlier audit, this was the frequent observation, but now the IT applications are mature, so it is less found. Input validation, range limit checks, data fields pre-programmed with limits, upper and lower values can be set for field or users, reduce the risk of big errors. Like in e-Aushadhi, for some medicine, the amount was very large, which was practically not possible. So there was no check for upper and lower values. Input validation check digits. Like we have in India, for different IDs, different digits are allowed. Like for income tax PAN number, there are 8 digits. Aadhaar number, mobile number are 10 digits. So it can easily, this check could be easily put. Otherwise, incorrect data could be entered. Frankly, in the most of the reports, when the auditor finds the data incompleteness, incorrectness, it is mentioned in the report. Then what is the origin? If you want to know what is the origin, what is the exact lack of input controls, then we have to go to the programming and or discuss with the person who has done the this system design. Now it is process control, second part of the application control. Process controls is related to the efficient coding of the IT system. Like sir yesterday discussed that there was a programming in a system, banking system, certain amount of interest rate was go to the person who was who designed the that application. So it was related to processing control. Unreasonable processing, inability to translate user needs into technical requirements, inability to control technology, repetition of errors. And it also includes the mapping of business rules. If you go through the major business rules of the organization, you may check whether these are applied or not, which may include whether the interest rate is correctly calculated, subsidies are properly given, risk in data processing, inability to substantiate processing, retention of loss, intermediate processing results, concentration of data and responsibilities, complexity of government rules and regulations. Sometimes government rules are so complex, the system designer, who is not the part of the government, do not have complete understanding, and these rules are not mapped properly. That is why there should be, in general controls, there is requirement for a user requirement specification and also the testing of the system before it is implemented. This is the objective of processing control. Properly, data has been properly processed. Data has only been processed once, and it has been applied to valid data only. Now the third category is output controls. Mostly the output controls are related to the mostly with the MIS report, which is used by the management. If the input control and processing controls are inefficient, then the output would also be incorrect and incomplete. These are important for the, especially for the IT applications which are used by the public or users. Like in registration department computation I was discussing, if the data entered is incorrect, the person who will view the status of his properties will find the incorrect data or no data. So this is altogether related with the input control and processing control. Also, there should be sufficient MIS management information system reports for the high management for correct decision making. Output should be produced when an output is expected and on time. It should be complete, accurate, and is as processed. Reasonable in terms of quality and format. Format should also be correct. By viewing the output MIS report, person can understand it pertains to the which month, which district, which area, and distribute to the right destination in a secure manner. It should be available to to the right person considering the secrecy and confidentiality of the data. Master file control, I would say these are the different systems which contains critical files, and these sites is elaborate only. It is repetitive of all the general controls we are discussing. These are the typical criteria, important criteria for information: effectiveness, efficiency, confidentiality, integrity, availability, compliance, and reliability.